Hey everybody, make sure you guys tune into my Twitch channel and you guys like this video, subscribe, and enjoy the content.
Alright guys, we're back here with Frosty again. For this video, what we're going to be focusing on is the meta build, which is the petrification protons with the explosive traps and a buff beam running right down the middle. Currently, I'm on Onslaught floor 443, and this build right here still holds flawlessly. You would have to tweak it a little bit for like headstrong lanes or different debuffs and onslaught and everything, but for anything else besides spiders, it's perfect. So, how you are going to want to build the explosive traps right here is for the explosive traps, you're going to run a 10 tenacity so that way any sideboards, you don't have to worry about them. They cannot stun them. It might look like they are being stunned, but they're not. Then you're going to want to run a controller. Now, if you don't have a controller and you have a melee, that's perfectly fine. It'll work. It just controller is going to be much better. Now, for like the headstrong lane, since they can't be stunned with the petrification, which is that controlled state, you can still ignite them with oil and fire to get them under a controlled state to get that bonus. Then you're going to want to run a defense rate so that way it's attacking at max rate. For frost lanes, if you wanted to build explosive traps for the frost, a 9 in defense rate would work with just a regular defense rate shard, no big deal. It'll overcap it so that way the frost orcs can't slow it down. Now, shard wise, what we're going to do is we're going to run fire for effect. If it's not gilded, don't worry. Gilded is better, but you can still get by with just a regular fire for effect. And it's pretty self-explanatory. What it does is it'll actually cause a second detonation without using a charge on the explosive. So that way your explosive traps will last a lot longer within your onslaught floors. Second one is going to be your mass destruction. So that way you're beefing that defense power way up there. Second one is going to be a destruction, preferably gilded. If it's not gilded, again, that's okay. You can still get by. You might struggle a little bit on much higher floors. But gilded, like I said, flawlessly. Now, for the protons here, you're going to need two EV setups. One with poison, and then one with earth. Now, as long as you have the poison and the earth on each one, everything else on there does not really matter. Your best bet would be have tenacity on both of them so that way you do not have to run a reflect beam in the front of it. But if that's the way you want to do it, that's perfectly okay. And in fact, if you are going to use a reflect beam in the front of it, you're going to want to run a shattering torpedo gilded on the reflect beam. And then at that point, all you need is a poison proton to cause a petrification. But what I run is I run a 10 tenacity, an earth servo, and then a defense rate. And the reason I run a 9 defense rate instead of a 10 is because if you look at the shards, I run a regular defense rate shard. So that way it's overcapped, so I can use mine in any lane, whether it be a frost lane or a maximum effort lane. It does not matter. It will not slow down. It'll still do the petrification like it needs to. Frosty Beams, that one is a tough one to decide on. There is an issue where Frosty Beams is actually messing up the petrification process. So if you don't run Frosty Beams, it just means you're pretty much guaranteed to petrify. Then I run a Destruction due to the fact that it'll just help DPS a little bit while they're being petrified within it. That one is on my earth. Now on my poison, I actually need to throw that back on there. I am running a destructive pylon, so that way I am using that as a boost within my build. I don't have to use any extra DU to try to boost my explosive traps. Then I run a defense rate, so that way again I can throw them down in even a frost lane. Don't have to worry about them being slowed down or anything like that. And then the third shard, again, I would throw destruction in there just to cause a little bit more DPS within the lane itself. You build it how you want, though. There's no specific way to do it. That's just what I do, and I know there's plenty of other people that do it completely different. Now, the buff beam. There are a few different ways to build the buff beam, so that way you can get that extra boost on your traps. I probably run mine a little bit different than what most people do. But for mine, I run a diverse CD, so that way it boosts the critical damage of every defense in its area. Then I run a diverse critical, so it also increases the critical chance. And then I run a diverse power to boost the power of each explosive within the radius of the buff beam. For shard wise, I run a boosted beam. As you can see, mine's not gilded. It does perfectly fine. Again, gilded would be a lot better. Now, since I'm not running tenacity on the buff beam, I throw automation in there because automation acts as a tenacity 10. So that's the one shard you want on there if you don't run the tenacity, or if you want to use a proton or a reflect beam in front of it, you can throw whatever you want there, whether it be a critical serve or a shard or whatever. Then I run a gilded destruction on there just to kind of help increase what it's putting out for my explosive traps. That alone, like I said, this will hold even in 5, 6, 700s because this is about what Frosty there builds, and he's in the 700s right now, and he still has no issue with it. The only difference is he runs Frost explosive traps, and for that, what you would want to do is instead of running a gilded destruction, you would swap that out for a defense rate shard. So that way you're overcapping that defense rate, and you don't have to worry about the frost orc slowing it down or anything like that. And trust me, that will take care of any yetis that you have come through your lane and they don't freeze them, and it just annihilates the frost. So that would be a very, very good option if you wanted to do that. And if you're running with a team, it would actually be a lot better for you to have one person run frost explosive trap build and then one run a DPS build like I'm doing here. So that's going to be today's video. If you want more damage out, by this time you should know, run C8 gear, and once the update comes out, you'll want to run C9, and then have a pet that has damage power or defense power as a boost on it, and it'll boost it up upwards to 20,000 points, and that's going to increase your explosives by a lot. So there's really nothing more you could do to this. Now, if you did want for a Headstrong lane, I will go ahead and show you that. So for a Headstrong lane with this exact build, what I typically do is I throw a boost ore within here. I throw 4 traps down, and then throw the buff beam right in the middle here. So this is what your typical Headstrong lane would look like, minus this earth one right here. So that would be your typical Headstrong lane. So that way you're getting the destructive pylon boost from the poison proton, and it acts as a slow. And then the boost aura, we'll go ahead and go over that as well. For my boost aura, what I run is a diverse power, so that way it increases the power of every defense nearby, including the buff beam. So that's going to help you push a little bit more. And then I run a drain aura just so that way that boost aura is actually doing a little bit of chip damage. It might not be much, but it's still enough to help out within that headstrong lane. And then I run the tenacity on there so I don't have to worry about Cyborg stunning it. For shards, I run a gilded boosted power that's pretty much just like the boosted beam on the buff beam. It gives it a big increase. In fact, it's a 24%. Then I run a boosted grass gilded, which actually slows the enemies while they are within the radius of the boost aura. So with that slow happening, what you're going to want to run is a Gilded Deadly Strike. So that way it increases the range of that boost aura. So that way they're being slowed for a much longer period of time. With that, this build right here for a Headstrong will not fail. If it does, put one upgrade into each trap and it'll take care of everything. You might have to DPS the faster bosses like the Nash and Dreadbones. But other than that, I haven't had a single boss leak through yet on it. So again, that's going to conclude this video for today. I hope you guys find this very useful in your onslaught pushes. And I hope them pushes go very well. If you end up catching up to me, I would love to see you guys and see how the build's working out for you. If you have any more questions about this or any other builds that you want us to try out or look at, just make sure you guys leave them down in the comments down below, and we'll check them out and possibly make future videos on them as well. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a great day.